Oh, my hip needs to click.
Oh, go on, click it.
Sorry. Click it. Sorry.
Right up to the mic.
Yes. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Go.
Welcome to the Blooming League of Original Podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Talk Musicals to Me, a fun theatre podcast about musicals and their impact on people. My name is Caroline Sheen and I'm here to quiz some of the leading creatives in the entertainment industry about their relationship with musical theatre and how certain musicals may have influenced their lives in ways you may not even expect. From how they first encountered a musical to musicals they may never even have seen, let's dive in and introduce today's guest to open up and talk musicals to me. Talking musicals to me today is choreographer Sarah O'Gleby. My lovely friend Sarah O'Gleby. She's a Brit who is conquering Broadway right now. And honestly, I couldn't be more proud and excited for all the things that are happening to her in her career. She has been doing the most incredible things. She has been choreographing for the Kennedy Center Honors, Saturday Night Live, the Tony Awards, the Academy Awards, and she has been assisting choreography on loads of big Broadway shows and now is a choreographer in her own right, having choreographed Almost Famous on Broadway and a musical that we hear a lot of on this podcast, SHUCK'D, which took London by storm this summer. So I can't wait to get in and talk musicals to my old pal, Sarah O'Gleby. Hey, Sarah.
Yay. Hi, friend. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? And how long is it that you've been out in New York?
Actually, we moved here in 2008. So like 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been a long time.
Amazing.
Which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
I've lived longer in New York than I did in London, really. Which is bonkers to me.
Yeah.
But I'm still very English, darling, because people love the accent. And so I get things that way.
Do you know what? You don't sound like you've been affected by the accent at all. I was out there for a year and Mike was getting really annoyed with me for sounding American, but you sound exactly the same.
No, because it gets me things.
It keeps you quirky.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, darling, could I possibly have this?
Yes, people think if you have a British accent in America that you're really clever.
I am.
Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Obviously, we are both incredibly clever, Sarah.
Yes.
But I think people have overstated idea of how clever I actually am.
I always laugh because I'm like, I left school at 16 to go to stage school, like, you know, got, I don't know, 4 GCSEs.
But we sound it.
We do sound it.
They think we sound clever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Leicester. All right, me duck. But when I went to Laine Theatre Arts, where I trained, like, at that time, like, having a Midlands accent was, like, not good, you know, and they just kind of really kind of ironed it out for you.
I do love the Leicester accent. It's a difficult one to manage. We had to do the Leicester accent. I was in the movie of Les Mis as one of the factory women.
Oh.
And they wanted the factory to be specifically set in Leicester.
Yeah, because there was a big factory place.
Yeah. So we had to learn a Leicester way of singing at the end of the day. I couldn't even tell you how it goes now.
That's so funny. You're never going to the shop. You're just going shop.
Going shop.
You know, or like going supermarket, you know. I distinctly remember coming back from Lane's when I'd maybe been there for the first time or something. And I said, I'm going to get the bus into town. And all my family just looked at me like, what the F?
What words are you saying?
Yeah.
So, Sarah, I can't wait to hear all about everything you think about musical theatre, because I know, having done the things that you've done, and obviously you're a performer first in London doing incredible work, and now, you know, the things you do for the Tonys and the Academy Awards, you can see you really have to know your musical theatre to do those things, because a lot of them are nods to historical, iconic musicals and stuff.
Yeah.
So let's get cracking with these questions, and I can't wait to hear your answers. So, how did Sarah O'Gleby first meet musical theatre? What was the first thing you ever saw? Or
Well, you know, it's so funny because panto was like, as much theatre as we did, But I think when I first met musical theatre, like in my consciousness, was actually watching Annie, the movie, and Arlene Phillips, the choreographer. And in my mind, Arlene was, I think, Anne Rankin, Grace. And so I just wanted to work for Arlene Phillips. And then the first musical I ever watched, like live in the West End, was Grease at the Dominion Theatre, which I think was about I think I would have been 14. It was like 1993, 1994.
Yeah.
I think I could tell you the exact seat I was sitting in. And there was this lady, Jo Bingham, who doesn't know me from arse of elbow.
Yes, Jo Bingham, who's Frenchy, right?
Yes, and she like held her legs so high for like 3 counts and then gat, and she like went into a flick step, and I was like, I need to be her and I need to be doing this, and
Wow.
It was just that moment when you're like, this is what my life needs to look like.
Oh.
What's so wonderful also about that was that Annie the movie, Arlene, then Grease the musical, Arlene, and then Arlene was the first lady to employ me. I worked for Arlene for many, many years, and actually just saw it Shuck'D at opening night at Regent's Park. I was like, it was like meeting the Queen, again, like, after all these years, and I was like, Arlene is Sarah, and she was like, okay.
Oh, I bet she must be so proud.
Oh no, it was just a really special moment. And then we did like this mini Scandinavian tour like 1 billion years ago when I got to do the choreography. So I just think that's so funny, like that Arlene was like right there,
Yeah,
all the way through the beginnings for me.
We've had her on the podcast, Eileen.
I know.
And it's fascinating to hear all her stories and how it all happened for her and stuff. And Grease was actually my first job. And I remember seeing that production at the Dominion and just that opening image of the sort of triangle of high school kids coming towards you through the smoke.
Yeah.
I can remember exactly where I was sitting as well. I went to see it on a school trip and just thinking, oh, how do I do this? How do I get into this? And then everyone started dancing and I was like, oh, I'm never going to be in this in a million years.
Oh my gosh, you're a dancer.
Well, I tried my best, and luckily the Pink Ladies don't have to. Well, Frenchie did because she had to be really good at the jive, but Marty is just at the back with Vince Fontaine, so she didn't have to kick her leg as high. So that was quite good.
That's perfect.
So that's how I managed that one.
Oh my gosh. But also, I was thinking for me though too, I have an older sister, and it sounds like, when people say they grew up on Fred Astaire, we did not grow up on Fred Astaire. Like we grew up on Grease, and Grease 2 more importantly. Grease 2 is actually...
Yes!
We love Grease 2 and Xanadu, and I actually think the first thing I ever saw live actually was Stig in the Dump at the Haymarket Theatre with my school in Leicester, and I can kind of vaguely remember where I was sitting. I must have been really young, but for some reason that really stays in my head so much.
Because Leicester is like pretty, well, it still is now with the Curve as well. It's got a really strong theatrical reputation, hasn't it, Leicester?
Yeah.
With the Haymarket. Because I know quite a lot of Sondheim musicals like did their first ever British performances in Leicester Haymarket with Paul Kerrison,
Yes.
Then they opened the Curve and the Curve is now doing, incredible things. So to be from Leicester, that means you know your theatre stuff, doesn't it now?
I do. Yes, I do.
Stick with the Dump. I remember reading that. I don't think I've ever seen a show of it, but yeah, that was one of the things you had to read in school, I remember, when I was a kid.
Yes, it was. Yes. We should make a musical about that.
Maybe there is one. If there isn't, let's do it. That would be good at Regent's Park. Just make the whole theatre a big dump and put Stig in the middle of it. It'd be fine.
Oh, Regent's Park was so magical.
Yeah.
And literally, I've been in New York such a long time now, but like the weather was like perfect every day. And
well, that's remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, it was like perfect every day. And the cast were just sublime. Stage management, everyone were just so sublime. And it was such a beautiful kind of, I've barely worked really back home since I left, and it was just such a gorgeous, and I was staying in Hampstead at my gay hubby's flat, and I walked from Hampstead every day, and it took like 45 minutes, and it was just divine. It was.
Did you have to change much of the work because the theatre is a slightly different shape and obviously the open air aspect and stuff? Was there much kind of recreating going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think every time you do the show, it always gets better. You just run out of time each time. But a lot of the comedy came from in one, like in wing one. And so we were on a thrust. So we had to really work out a lot of things, things that have to happen in a single beat and can't happen in 3 beats, to get the comedy at the front of the stage and stuff. So we did have to look at a lot of things. And then, we examine, there's funny things like such an American word, award, will the Brits get that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
The cast were just having such a gorgeous time, and we didn't do that typical thing where you enter from stage right one, you land on this number, we like really created it with them, and we just had all a magical time. Just those moments when you're like, I can't believe I get paid to do this and to be with these people.
And sod's law, I was working the whole summer and couldn't go and see it.
Oh, no, rubbish, but it was magical.
I didn't get to see it, unfortunately, but I heard amazing things.
Yeah.
And it is always mentioned on this podcast because quite a lot of people say it in which musical made you laugh the most in that question.
There you go.
And a lot of people say Shuck'd made them really.
Yay! Perfect.
So which was the first musical you were personally involved with, Sarah? Did you do stuff at amateur level or did you wait until you graduated and you were properly working?
Yeah, panto, so was kind of like, even as a child at De Montfort Hall again in Leicester.
So was that as like one of the babes, like one of the, like,
yes,
as a kiddie? Oh,
yeah,
cute.
Totally. And then with all the horse poop all over the stage.
Were there some legends in panto with you? Were you working with like proper famous people?
Well, it was all about Neighbours and Home and Away then. So, it was Alex and Bobby, I think it was from Neighbours.
Wow.
Oh, was that Home and Away? But anyway, to me at that time, I ate dinner at 5:30 every day and you always watched Neighbours and Home and Away. So that felt epic to me. Brian Blessed.
Brian Blessed. I knew exactly. As soon as you sang that, I knew that name was coming out of your mouth.
Yes. I thought that was pretty cool. But then my first musical I danced in was Saturday Night Fever with Arlene.
Ah, yeah.
A dinky little thing. And so doing all the partnering, and Gwenda Newhouse was actually one of the residents. And actually we've come back into each other's lives actually this past year.
Oh, lovely.
And actually a lot of time when American shows are coming over to London, a lot of people will ask me like, who do you recommend, and so I just recommended Brenda for something. And she really taught me so much more than...
It wasn't just the dance steps.
Just the steps.
Yeah.
No, I had a tricky moment with one person I remember in the cast, and she was like, I could talk to them. She said, but it's going to be better if you can handle it. And at the time I was like, I was like 19 or something. I was like, I can't do that. She was like, you need to do it. And actually it was the most extraordinary moment. And then actually this dance partner, we became then our favourite dance partners and stuff. But she kind of, she gently nudged me in that moment. It was really special. Yeah. And actually this other lady, Dinky. Yeah, do you remember Dinky?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think of Dinky, I've told Tony Edge this. I haven't seen Tony in a very long time, but Dinky and Tony Edge, when I was an Arlene girl for a long time, and actually I went out with this guy, Stuart Ramsey, when I was 17 at Laine.
Stuart Ramsey, he was in Greece with me.
Yes.
We were both doing our first job, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So I was going out with Stuart then. And
oh my gosh.
I remember meeting Dinky and I was like, how do you even note this show? And she said, I just look directly above everybody and I let my eye just be pulled to wherever it needs to go.
Oh, wow.
I was 17 then, so a long time later.
But you remember that?
I've never forgotten it, and it's exactly what I do. I look just directly above everyone and I just let my eye get pulled. Between like Brenda and Dinky and Tony Edge, and actually Chris Bailey taught me how to like run a room and be respectful and not to think that you have all the answers for things and discover things together. And they never told you to do anything. They only ever asked, and so
yeah,
it was a really special time.
Absolutely.
But then I've had obviously so many firsts, first time being assistant dance captain, assistant choreographer, associate choreographer. And now I'm about to start to direct a couple of things too. So this is all just so exciting.
Amazing.
Yes.
Wow, Sarah.
This little glebe from Leicester.
Fantastic. I just think those are the people who I had my first musical theatre professional experience with. Tony Edge, Dinky, Arlene, and the support and the guidance they give without being in any way kind of patronizing to you because it's your first job and you're learning. And I was so green at the gills and they were just brilliant. I'm really pleased that what you've learned from them is being passed on now, because I'm sure there are people learning that from you now as well.
Totally.
Which is really lovely that the baton is being passed on, because they really did make my first job an absolute joy, and with, like you say, utmost respect and guidance and help you make wise choices and things like that. Just fabulous and fun. fun. And then you end up doing brilliant work for them because they encourage you to do that and you're happy.
You do, because you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you respect them so wonderfully as human beings. And hopefully now I think why people enjoy me, like ish, but because I run a room full of joy, and I also can move very efficiently and quickly whilst running a room full of joy.
Well, because you've learned on the job, like you say, being assistant dance, captain dance, there's no job in that realm of the world that you haven't done. So you know how it should be done.
Yeah, and being a swing, because I was swing on a bazillion shows in London and here in New York. Swing is like such a, you got the job, yay, they want you to swing, you know, when you get the call. But 1,000% I would not be who I am today without swinging all those shows and subconsciously taking in so much all the time and see naked fix things, or I don't know, just through observation.
Yeah. Well, you were swing when we worked together on Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum.
Yeah.
And because that was quite a short run, wasn't it? So did you ever get on, or did you do one show?
I did one show, I didn't remember, but
that's right.
Lorraine Stewart was stuck.
That's it. I knew it was Lorraine.
Yeah, she was stuck in the car or something, but they didn't make the call until like literally beginners.
Yeah, I remember this.
And I can remember feeling very upset and not feeling very supported, actually.
Yeah, I've got a feeling I remember us being ready to go on, like waiting to go on for the opening.
In the trapdoor?
In the trapdoor, and seeing as we were sort of in the corridor and Lorraine was like running in with her like motorbike helmet or something like that.
Yes, you must. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we'll see you later. Sarah's show today.
That actually was a very hard show. It was my first show with Rob Ashford, who became a massive, massive, massive part of my life.
And I remember you didn't really enjoy it, did you? I think maybe because of that, and you didn't get on. And
yeah, that was the first show that I had not just been a replacement in as a swing. It was the first show that was like being created.
Oh, wow. Okay. Which is very different, isn't it? Because it's changing all the time.
Yes. But also, like, I remember auditioning for Rob for the first time. And I always say that it was like he was talking parcel tongue to the room.
Yes. Very Broadway language, wasn't it? What he was talking.
Yeah. But I was one of the very few that understood what he was saying and what he needed and what he was looking for. I just got him from the get-go, and he just thrilled me. And then to be like in the studio for the first time and creating with him, and I can remember him like the way he communicate. And Brits work so differently to Americans.
Right.
And Americans just like, they show off from the get-go, you know, like they can't wait to give you and more.
Yeah.
Whereas Brits are like, yeah, but is it on the left foot or the right foot? And you're like, I don't care what foot it's on. You know, like, just let's play.
We take our time, don't we? I think.
Yes, you do. You're very, but you could argue that you invest slowly in the beginning, but it only gets richer and richer and richer and richer, you know? And I just wanted to give him like what I knew he wanted. And I just wanted to dance for him.
And you couldn't because you were the swing. So he was working with the girls.
Yes.
And you had to sit and watch that. That must have been very frustrating.
Yes, exactly. Oh, another story from that show was the extraordinary Philip Quast. And I don't know if you remember this, but I'm sure you do remember this, but he wouldn't sing any of the songs. I don't know if you remember, he would only ever talk it in dialogue until he felt ready to sing it.
Yes.
And I would have been like 22 or 23 at that time. And I can remember thinking, like, what? Like, you know, I'd never like remotely been around like that. But now I can see the way that he was getting underneath the language, like and underneath the storytelling until it was like in his bones, that then it could only get to that place where you can't talk it anymore. You need to like sing it. And he was mind blowing in that show. I mean, or everyone. I mean, he was so extraordinary.
Every aspect of him was incredible. Mainly his thighs in that skirt.
Yes. Yeah, totally. But sometimes now I'll tell that story a lot of time actually. Now I say, we're going to Philip Quast it. We're only going to talk it. And so we can discover like the lyrics and like if so sometimes you can just get lost in the melody.
I had totally forgotten that, you know, Sarah.
Oh, I talk about it a lot.
Yeah, I had no memory of that at all. He was one who really took his time.
Yes.
Obviously, because couldn't hear him sing for the first however many weeks. But then added detail after detail after detail. And then once he got an audience, you're like, oh, wow, there he is.
Yeah, it was extraordinary. And I don't even think I was aware of observing it like that way, but I know it stayed with me.
Yeah, fabulous time on that job. And yeah, like you say, Rob Ashford. And then you went on to do quite a lot of stuff with Rob. after that? Obviously, Guys and Dolls.
Yes, I actually was meant to do this movie Beyond the Sea, but I was in We Will Rock You, and the dates kept changing, and then my holiday couldn't accommodate it. Rubbish. But at the time, that felt so thrilling. Yeah, after I finished Guys and Dolls, he was going to do his directorial debut in New York, and Chris, my husband, he was going to be associate choreographer on it, and then Rob asked me if I would be assistant choreographer on it, and that's how we then got our O1 visas and like how the journey across the path. But actually, we came for a year in 2008, but it was literally the summer the economy tanked.
Yeah.
And we were doing auditions and pre-pro, and then we were going to Boston to do the out of town, and then Broadway in the spring. And then Rob came in maybe on the second day of pre-pro. We were auditioning for Swings, and Julie Barnes was in the room auditioning for Swings, old Brit too. I mean, not old Julie, not old. And he just came in and they said the money wasn't there. We didn't know what we were doing. We were like, we couldn't work for anybody else because we were on O1 visas. And then Rob actually got the call to Dr. Shrek, the musical. Then Rob and Chris went on to Shrek and to work on that musical quite some time. But that financially for us was a lifesaver. And then Obama won the election that year for the first time. And New York just felt like the most extraordinary place, like just full of possibility. It was like a really extraordinary time. Even though something had been taken away.
Yeah, it still felt hopeful and exciting.
Yeah.
And new.
Yeah.
Totally new to you.
Yeah.
Maybe in New York, maybe in London. Which musical have you seen the most? Which musical, like obviously not your own work, like other people's musicals. Which have you seen the most of?
Fame. I loved Fame so much.
Fame?
I loved it.
I love that show.
Oh my God. I mean, what is that, like late 90s?
Yeah.
Pili Lopez, again, another dancer. She was a Laine.
Yeah.
And I thought she was everything. I mean, everything. And I could see myself and I was like, I have to do that track. I actually saw Pili. I'd actually never met her before. And then I saw her at the Lane's like 50 reunion last summer. And I was like, you don't know me. But I said, but you were everything to me. And Fame, I mean, it was just everything. I just was like, I have to go watch it again. I just was the dancing. And actually, I've actually just asked my agent, like, what's up with the rights with that? Because I actually would love to get in and do it and like refresh it and all of that.
Oh, there's so much potential there.
I know.
So much potential there.
And it's just really in my heart. I just like, that was the dancer I wanted to be. And like, it was just everything to me.
And it's another of the shows, isn't it? Like Grease and like Saturday Night Fever, where you know that if you're in that show, you're going to have a good time because you're with a lot of people with the same skill set, of the same age, same generation, similar life circumstances. So like, you know, you do Grease and you're all playing high school kids. You're all the same age. You all want to go out and have a party after a Thursday night show or whatever. And it just makes for a really happy company, I think, those sort of shows.
Yeah.
Really positive, energetic.
Well, exactly. But when we did Forum at the National, my dad was like, he was like, where's the mega mix? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where's all the pop music? What do you mean Sondheim?
Exactly. My dad was like, it was a bit boring, wasn't it? You know, and so I was like, Dad, it's at the National Theatre. It's very important.
This is highbrow, don't you know? This is highbrow.
Exactly. I was like, this is, you know, I'm working at the Nash, you know? And so like, my dad was like, all right, you know, but Mr. Dancing.
I think there were quite a lot of us, weren't there, working at the National for the first time, and we were all very proud of ourselves. I do remember that.
Oh, very. And all the history boys, you know, were there too, you know, like.
We were all there at the same time, weren't we? James Corden, Dominic Cooper.
And I've worked a bunch for James since, and I'm always like,
of course.
You were in the dressing rooms like down a level, like across from us, you know. They were so naughty.
Do you remember they used to mess around on the tannoy and like call cabs for people and stuff like that?
Yes.
And it was always like James and Dominic.
They were so naughty.
Yeah, it was a great summer. So, having told you Shuck'd is the musical people laugh the most at, which musicals make you laugh the most and cry the most?
Well, Shuck'd is just in my heart because I've invested a lot of energy and it still makes me laugh now, like years later.
That's good, especially if you know all the jokes that you still laugh at them. That's really good. That means they're good jokes, right?
I mean, that's the thing. We are still laughing at them. But Jerry Springer, which is our time at the National too, that was like jaw on the floor.
It really was, wasn't it?
I can remember thinking, like, am I allowed to laugh at this? Like, this is like, and then looking around the audience and be like, okay, they're laughing now. I mean, that really was, for shock factor. Hysterical. Very, very, very funny. With so much heart, too, when you break it down, too. There's a lot being said in that musical. I actually think it's a very under talked about piece of theatre that is quite extraordinary.
It caused chaos, didn't it? I remember when it went on tour here and people were protesting at the theatres. I think because of one of the depictions in Act 2 where I think like a religious figure is being provocative, I guess.
Yes.
But, half the time the people who were protesting hadn't seen the musical, so they didn't really know what they were protesting about. But I think it kind of put a real dampener on it at that point. So people haven't wanted to take the risk. I wonder if it's ever been done in the States, because obviously he's an American hero.
Actually, it was with Chris, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and John Rando.
Oh, wow.
And they did it in a slightly different way, but it was, again, absolutely brilliant. But isn't that amazing, though, to like create a piece of theatre that people are even protesting about?
Yeah, exactly.
We all see things that are like beige vanilla, but I think honestly, I think it's so, that's why Jamie Lloyd is so like engaging in conversation, like
pushing boundaries,
Yeah, and you go and you talk about it and you disagree about things or really connect over something or I didn't see that, I actually saw this, and I loved Jerry. And I just think, honestly, there's such little theatre, actually, that's really causing like massive conversation.
Yeah.
Big feelings.
And that really did.
Yeah.
It was a huge thing at the time, wasn't it? Massive thing at the time.
It was, yeah. And the one that made me cry the most, actually, was actually Bridges of Madison County.
Bridges of Madison County.
When Stephen Pascal's, I always say your last name wrong, honey. Pascal. I think it's Pascal. I did carousel with him, actually.
It's hard, isn't it? Because we've got Joe Pasquale over here, and that's how you say it.
I think that's maybe why I doubt it.
Because we don't know how to say it now.
Yeah, but that whole musical I can remember waking up the next morning still crying about it.
Wow, the next day.
The choices, falling in love. His song, when he was wailing at the end, it just, it got into my heart, and nerve endings and just life, marriage, women, like
reality,
identity, especially when it comes to women, I think is a massive conversation. That's a massive part of that show. It's divine. I just loved it.
Oh, fabulous. I don't think we've had one before. I love that we've had a new mention, and I'm not sure about Jerry Springer. I think we might have had Jerry Springer once. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love these two fresh takes. Thank you, Sarah GLEBY. I know you're going to be appalled with me for this next question, but I've never ever seen a professional production of West Side Story. Shock horror.
Oh, come on.
I know. Very rarely done over here, honestly.
Oh, because in the States it's done all the time.
But yeah, I've seen the movies. I do regret it, and one day I will remedy it, and that will make this question null and void. But is there a musical out there that you are ashamed to not have seen, or that you feel sorry that you haven't seen yet or did?
I was going to say it's not ashamed, but I do really wish I'd seen the Sam Mendes production of Cabaret. Ooh. The way that it's talked about here really sounds like it was an extraordinary thing to have observed. And so I wish that had happened in my time. Well, I've been here in New York.
Yeah. So, a little bit of information about Sam Mendes Cabaret. Now, I have a feeling that when it opened on Broadway, they made it a bit more glossy and the production became a bit more slick. But if you look on YouTube, it was filmed for television.
Oh.
And it's the Donmar Warehouse production of it was filmed for television. So it's got Jane Horrocks and Alan Cumming, the original two from London. Well, one of my dissertations for college was about that production, which was strange because I'd never actually seen it, but I watched the TV, wasn't called a live stream then, was it? But it was broadcast.
Ah.
And so, yeah, if you wanted to watch it, it is on there and it is rough.
Mm.
These people in the Kit Kat Club, they are working really hard to get by.
Scrape by.
Wearing torn clothes and they're tired. I think, was it that version of Guys and Dolls where the Hotbox girls are a little bit over it? Do you know what I mean? I think, is it?
Yes.
Is that Rob's version?
But that was Rob's version, yeah.
They're just a bit like, oh, here we go again. And I loved that because you think that is their story, isn't it? They are doing their show again, and it's just what they do every night, rather than it all being like fizzing and electric every single night. And that's kind of what Cabaret did.
Well, fun little story about Guys and Dolls too, because like when we did the second number, Mink, we actually got like entirely topless on stage. But I've got quite small breasts. But some of the ladies would wear like pasties on top, you know? One of my friends, Jen, she'd get like the biggest pasties she could and then write little notes to the gents on their pasties. So like when the men were like looking at it, so they always had something to read and laugh about. It was hysterical.
Oh, that's funny. Is there a part of you that misses performing, Sarah?
You know what's so funny? My last show that I performed in was actually Cinderella on Broadway. And at that point, I was really doing a lot of assistant work and I actually was just like so used to like looking left or right from a dance captain kind of point of view and taking care of people. And then I just realized when I was doing Cinderella, because I was vacation swing actually, which is like the best job.
Oh, yeah.
Because you just get to go in and out all the time and get to have your cake and eat it and do lots of other things at the same time. I just realized I was taking up somebody's dream spot and like this was somebody's dream, and the performing element part of it had just kind of become a bit of a job, you know, and a wonderful, amazing job. But I distinctly remember thinking the applause just didn't affect me, and that it would mean so much to somebody and they deserve to have that spot,
and that you were ready to move on to something different.
Yeah, but I do miss the girly dressing room, and the girls' dressing room was everything, you know.
And the banter, and yeah, definitely, I can imagine that being the thing you miss, the laughs.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
and everything. It's not the performing, is it? It's the backstage and the characters and the people. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So let's take a little break and come back for part 2. Go get yourself a drink or whatever you want to do. So on Talk Musicals to Me, I thought I would use this opportunity to support some friends of mine who have small businesses. And I put a message out on my social media to see who would get in touch and to see how I can help them amplify their voices. So I have a couple of ones that I would like to mention today. So this one is from my friend John Chartres, who runs a small business specialising in accounting for the arts, self-employed actors, musicians and stage management, as well as small production companies. Friendly advice and good value for anyone who wants to get in touch at fresheyesfinance.co.uk. And this is from a dear mummy pal of mine called Lucy McCrudden, who runs a non-profit called Dance Mama, which is dedicated to supporting parents who dance on and off stage. With evidence-based information and support, plus over 80-plus stories, we help parents continue their careers in dance from a physical, mental, creative and logistical viewpoint. Check out www.dancemama.org to see how they can help you navigate your career as a parent. And finally, Jessica runs something that sounds like great fun, a thing called Showtime Circus, which can be found at Showtime_circus on Instagram. It's a circus school franchise and helps other small business owners franchise or license their business. It's based in Birmingham, but I think there's lots of them around the country. So get online and have a look if you want to learn some circus skills. Hello there and welcome back to Talk Musicals to Me. This episode is with my lovely friend Sarah O'Gleby, choreographer and director, soon to be extraordinaire, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, I have 2 shows, both in London actually. I've been working on this one show, King Ralph, for about 4 years. And I just needed to ask Bristol Vic actually to move our slot. It wasn't announced yet.
Okay.
I'm going to have a scarf and I'm going to fling it around my neck because I'm going to be a director at the Bristol Vic.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's the comedy. It's a film from the 90s. It's with lovely Adam Spears at ATG. Yeah, and I'm like...
And are you choreographing as well?
Yes. Yeah, because it's very handmade, you know, and I have this extraordinary actor, Ben Walker, who's like a Tony-nominated American actor who actually lives in London. He has a big part in the Lord of the Rings TV series and did American Psycho. I mean, he's done extraordinary things.
Yeah.
And he's wonderful and funny. And then I'm actually doing a big thing for Secret Cinema that has not been announced yet, but will be announced any second.
Oh,
and so my year tends to work out like a good chunk of theatre, a good chunk of television, and a good chunk of kind of very high-end immersive events for like big brands, as being like one of them. And so this one with Secret Cinema is really like what I kind of create for Hermes, like with Broadway, like theatre.
Yeah.
And kind of bring them all together. And I'm super excited about it. And I've got some people on the team like doing shows back, you know, when we were all like assistants or whatever, and everyone's now like being amazing. And so it's kind of bringing the old team back together, which is so fun. And I'm super excited.
And pretending to be grown-ups together, that's quite fun, isn't it? When you're working with people you've known for years, you go, oh, look,
yes, exactly. So, but no, I'm super excited. And the thing is for me, like, it's not even then that I'm only directing now. I don't feel like that at all. I just love working with like people that yes and me, and you know, and you really just get in there and you lose sleep because you want it to be the best it can be. And I was saying on this Secret Cinema project, I was like, people save up their money for this moment. We can't get lazy in any place because, you know, this is like their one moment when they get introduced to the world of theatre, or like, I don't know, like they're just so excited, you know, and we have to deliver to them and more.
You have to remember that at every point of the creative process, don't you? Who you're doing it for.
Yeah.
So this is my first question of the second half. If you were head of all the schools, which musical would you put on the school curriculum?
Well, I'm sure many people have said the same thing with this one, but I do think Hamilton is an extraordinary piece of work, piece of history, piece of creation. To watch it on like the Disney Channel and kind of like break it down and pause and talk about things, and what was Lynn doing in that moment to, you know, how did he amplify that without even saying it directly, or what was the choreographer doing there to amplify what was being said, and or lighting, all departments. And I just think it's an extraordinary piece of theatre, and you're learning too, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's history as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know that Mike was in Hamilton here and he couldn't believe his luck. He was watching Andy Blankenbuehler at work, you know, doing the choreography. And he said what he found so remarkable about Andy and Tommy, the way they both work together, is that you never have any doubt as to where you're meant to be looking on that stage. You know, as an audience member, the choreography is taking your eye to the important part of the story, and it just continues to move and move. And you are always absolutely looking in the right place, wherever you're looking, even if there are a few right places to look.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like fighting the choreography and going, okay, what's going on there? Because I want to look that way this time. And inevitably I'd end up looking where I was meant to look, you know, couldn't catch anyone out, you know.
No, it's an extraordinary piece of like stagecraft.
Yeah, it really is. And like you say, I think for kids to kind of learn from that and to connect to it as well, because it is so current as well, isn't it? Musically and politically as well.
Yeah.
Remember when it first came out, there were all these viral videos of like that first Christmas when people were getting their favourite Christmas present was tickets to Hamilton.
Yeah.
And they were like crying their eyes out. I love it when something shakes up the culture. You know, musicals became cool again.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And they've continued to stay that way, I think. I remember thinking I'm into musical theatre and I'm a bit geeky for being like that. But now actually I think quite a lot of people like musical theatre. I know tonight I'm going to go and sit in the cinema and watch the second Wicked movie, and I'm going to be in a packed cinema for the first time in ages.
Yes.
Probably since the last Wicked movie.
No, totally.
It's not nerdy anymore.
No, it's not. No, but you're right. It's Jonah's been my little 6-year-old. Matilda, like we just love watching Matilda. Like, and also he's really American, my son. Like he's like, oh my God, you know, and there's nothing English in him whatsoever.
Does he do a British accent for the two of you? Does he try?
But especially if I'm watching Matilda, we listen to him like sing, and he doesn't like us to watch him, and he's going like naughty, you know, and he sounds perfect.
Brilliant.
Yes.
I would expect nothing less.
Yes.
So I know we were talking earlier about an idea for a show, you know, Stig of the Dump, the musical. Is there a musical that you feel like has been forgotten that you would like to see remounted?
We know it's so funny. It's Your Husband. It's Our House for me.
Oh, Oh, yeah, that's exciting.
You know what? I talk about our house too a lot. I watch Welcome to the House of Fun for like inspiration sometimes, like on something. And that was such a special time, like in London. Like I think everyone, it was like such the buzz of the town. And it's so funny too, because whenever I think of a director that I would love to be like, Matthew Warchus is like number one for me. And I did see our house many times actually.
Did you?
Yeah. I mean, Matt Cross, me and Matt, we trained together, and still Matt to this day is still one of the most talented people I will ever have known.
Oh, I mean, incredible.
Incredible. But I don't think I knew it when I was watching it, but I obviously was watching it subconsciously, creatively, because there's so many things in that show that have just stayed with me. And I just think it is a brilliant piece of musical. I think it's a brilliant jukebox musical in a way that you wouldn't even know it's a jukebox musical. Your husband obviously it was like, who the F is this guy? Like, he's amazing, you know? And
he came out of nowhere, didn't he? He really did.
yeah, Murray Lane, the dresser, like the quick changes. He always sends me such gorgeous notes now. And like Murray was king of all those quick changes. And
they had magicians working on those quick changes.
Oh my God.
It was proper like staged, these magic guys. I can't remember their names.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There was quite a lot of magic involved, because not only were there quick changes, there were also moments where you thought you were watching him up on a bridge and then suddenly he was on the ground and you're like, oh, hang on, who's that? So there was quite a lot of double work as well going on, and lots of masking and things like that. Yeah, so there was proper magic.
For me, like that kind of British musical theatre creation, that is one of the tops for me.
And that was the forerunner of Matilda, really, because it was the same creative team, Matthew Warchus, Peter Darling, Rob Howell.
Yeah, and Peter Darling is like, yes.
It's almost like they cut the teeth on Our House and then...
But then it just kind of disappeared, like into the ether of like all the musicals that ever been made.
Yeah, it did a tour for a bit, and then there've been smaller tours happening, and now a lot of youth theatres do it and a lot of Amdram do it, because Mike's always being asked to send messages to people to say good luck, you know.
Ah, nice.
I always say, and Mike won't mind me saying this, I think it was a victim of its own success, really, and that it was a brilliant piece of musical theatre, but the people who would have really appreciated that brilliant piece of musical theatre didn't want to go and see a show full of Madness songs. And I think Madness fans didn't really want to go and see a musical. So I think it just kind of missed its audience somehow. That's my humble opinion.
Yeah. Well, that breaks my heart. Yes.
I know. But it did win the Olivier for Best New Musical.
Yeah.
So, it did all right.
But Lyndon, do you remember Lyndon?
Yes, Lyndon O'Neill.
I just remember Lyndon coming forward and doing a jump, like box splits. And like, I just loved him so much. Just for me, the creation of that show was like spectacular, and I loved it. I just loved it. I loved it.
You'll be sad to know that if you do the show now, House of Fun isn't in it anymore. Got cut.
Why not?
I have no idea. I've seen a college production and there's no House of Fun, which I was gutted about.
That's like the best number.
Have a word. We'll write to them and tell them to reinstate it. Remount Our House.
I actually would love to do it.
Mike can play the dad this time.
Oh, Mike.
He would as well. He would do it enough. Is there any musical which has inspired you to make a really strong choice in your life, to change your life or change direction or change your mind?
I think strangely for me, the Don Ma version of The Guys and Dolls and Rob Ashford made me the strong choice to move to America. So, like, I think that's a pretty strong choice.
Yeah, that's what it led to, right?
I mean, honestly, I just was so wildly in love with Rob and how he'd made things. And I honestly thought, if I work for this man for the rest of my life, I'll be more than happy, like beyond happy.
What was your journey with that show, Sarah? Because had it been in London?
No, it's actually a fun little, well, not fun, but like, it was my sister's 30th birthday. I was up in Leicester and I'd auditioned for Guys and Dolls. Oh, lovely Anne, casting director Anne James.
Anne McNulty.
I love Anne McNulty.
Wonderful woman.
And I actually auditioned for Grand Hotel at the Donmar. And at that time, I think I was in Mamma Mia. And I was like, I'm going to the Donmar for an audition, which felt really fancy. Anyway, I can remember going in and I couldn't believe that I was even going in for something at the Donmar. Anyway, Anne McNulty was just so gorgeous with me. And then Michael Grandage was like, then we talked for 10 minutes before I did anything. And I actually got all the way to the end for Grand Hotel. Eventually didn't get it, but I was just thrilled that, like, Donmar and GLEBY from Leicester was very exciting. And then Guys Guys and Dolls was happening. And I'd actually was meant to have done Beyond the Sea with Rob before that, and then ended up not doing it because my holiday didn't line up. Anyway, I auditioned for Guys and Dolls. Yes, for my sister's 30th birthday, I'd done the first kind of 2 dance like auditions. And then it was about getting called back to do duet work, like pas de deux, like on the Sunday. And I can remember being at my sister's 30th birthday in Leicester, and I had such a violent tummy ache, like I hold all my emotion in my tummy, and I had a violent tummy ache, and I was just like looking at my phone, which was probably just a rubbish phone at that time, just please ring, you know. I never wanted the phone to ring so badly. I think it rang, but really late, like 9 p.m. or something like that. And then, I mean, my sister, bless my sister, I was like, I have to go home. I have to get a train early in the morning. I just wanted this show so badly. I'd never wanted something as badly as what I wanted that show. Anyway, I can remember Richard Gorgeous Reynard was my partner, and we're still dear friends now. And the audition, it was to what was that from Moulin Rouge, Chris? The partner, Roxanne. Yeah, it was thrilling. Oh, it was beyond thrilling. Anyway, then the lovely Jay Alexander, I think, was the MD. I think I did 9 auditions, and then I think I was so nervous, I just never sang the best I could have sang. I was a dancer that could contribute to the sound, Caroline. The original cast never came my way, and I can remember seeing it, and it was just like everything.
Oh, so after all that, you didn't get in?
No, I didn't. I mean, I cried like a baby. I mean, I was really upset.
I bet.
But then the first UK tour went out, and then I did that. And that's where the relationship with Rob really, really, really cemented. I was always like one of his like English, London girls when he would come over and do things. And
swinging on that, Sarah, or you a dance captain?
I was on stage. I mean, maybe I've done like 14 shows from New York and London or something, but I think I only had my own track 2 times, and that was one time. And when I did Chaplin on Broadway with the lovely Warren Carlyle.
Oh yeah.
But I loved it. And the way that Chris Bailey taught the choreography, he somehow made us feel like we were making it up somehow. And it was with the extraordinary Jamie Lloyd also then at that time, as he was associate to Michael. And they just made us feel like we made the show. And I always say this, like, you never thought about, what am I going to get from Sainsbury's tomorrow or anything, like whenever you were on stage, because it was just, you were like in it every single night.
It's alive, isn't it?
It is.
I think I saw that tour. I think I saw it when you came to Woking. Did you do Woking?
Then we did do Woking. We had like lots of great people. Like Ben Richards was with us.
Lisa Stocky,
yes.
Nigel Harman.
Yeah, Nigel Harman.
I think I saw Ben do it, but Nigel was maybe...
He did come in with us at one point.
Rehearsing to take over, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
It was magical. It was an amazing time, and a real pivot moment, and then of course we only moved to New York for a year, and then 17 years later.
Wow. And there you are.
Yeah.
Still out there getting calls from Broadway.
Yeah, Broadway's calling.
I love that. Honestly, it's inspiring talking to you and having known you for so long and seeing the trajectory that you have taken. And, I haven't had time even yet to ask you how you manage all the sort of Saturday Night Live type Tonight Show or the Oscar ceremony things. That's, crazy to me. If you had to name something, what would you say is the key, is the secret to make a good musical work? I think it's such a $1 million question. It's like, I think Americans are very good at structure of a musical, like knowing this is the I Want song moment, this is the 11 o'clock, like blah, 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 Yeah, whoever had that secret would be a billionaire by now. Yeah, but yes, I think it's really hard. But for me, the shows that I really engage with, Once is a very special moment for me of watching a musical. Like, I love nothing more than when it's like this human, honest experience. And I think Once is actually fascinating because really not much happens. No, very simple story. But it's an amazing character study. It's human, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think it's, when people say, they've worked 7 years on these musicals and stuff, it's not that it takes 7 years. It takes 7 years to line up the teams, like dates and stuff, like to kind of get together. And I think sometimes, and of course, things that we all react to are all very, very, very different. It's interesting. I've been doing a lot of Greta Gerwig research on something, and it's extraordinary listening to her talk because she's so my time, and the things that she loves are like, I'm like, I love that too, and having young kids and being a creative, being a mother, like, I think we're all so full of judgment when we're younger and in our 20s, we're like, Oh, we think we know it all, don't we?
Oh, we do, you know? And it's really heartbreaking when musicals like don't happen on for so many people. Like, you know, the producers are obviously, you know, representing people that have we've been lucky enough to give their money to this arts, you know, because they really believe in storytelling and in theatre specifically. And the creatives give time in a way that, for me anyway, you know, the money doesn't equal the time like that you're giving to something. But you do because you believe in it and you believe in the people, you believe in the story, you believe literally when I just was doing Working Girl for its pre-Broadway out in La Jolla, and I'm choosing to take, you know, 10 weeks away from my son, you know, and he's 6, nearly 7, and it's a really special time in his age and our relationship. And
it's hard, isn't it?
And you have to be like, you have to make a choice, like, is this show worth like not being with Jonah for like all that period of time? And I said to the cast that it was, you know.
You know what, as well, I think that's really good that you mentioned that, because it is a huge amount of personal upheaval for anyone who has any caring responsibilities, let alone people who don't have that. It's upheaval enough for them, whereas people with the caring responsibilities have so much to juggle. And I just did a very intense 4-week-long workshop of a musical, and at the end of it, the director, who's Matthew Warchus actually, he just said, I just want you to know that I really appreciate the fact that you've all absolutely trashed your lives for the last 4 weeks. And I was like, that is such a good way of describing it. My life was trashed. I had a lovely time. Had a great time working, but that's literally all I did for that 4 weeks. It was so intense. And to have that recognised and the gratitude for it was rare and very welcome.
That's I love that you said that. And also it's funny for me as a choreographer, like I love to tell a story like through the dance, and I don't need to do steps. Just I don't think I'll ever be a choreographer like, let's just keep doing a dance break. Like I just, because I need to know why I'm doing it. Like what's the human aspect of what I'm trying to tell, what's happening inside my body. Like, you know, sometimes, you know, on Shuck'D was a very, very special time of creating a show, because we all wrote the show, we all wrote the music, we all choreographed it, we all directed it, we all lit it. Like every department was in everybody's department. And then sometimes we'd be on things and I'd be like, yeah, like, but not, I'm not heady at all, but my body tells me. I just let my body like tell me. And I'll be like, my body just says nothing to that. Like there's nothing for me to hold on to. Like, or this is the third song, we're telling the same story. Like we're way, you know, and I'll be like, we're way ahead of it. Like, you know, or I'll be like, oh, there's something in that, and my bum will start to wiggle, and then I can start, and I stand up at my chair, and everyone's like, oh, she's on to something.
Like Popeye eating some spinach.
I mean, literally, like,
come on.
Well, it's so funny because I'll say here a lot and people have no idea what I'm saying, but I'll say I'm like a Duracell bunny. I'm like on or off, you know? And so I just want to be a part of things that like really get my body really going. And I love to talk things through and, you know, and I never want to just do something to just do it, you know, because who cares? If we just do something, that's why the audience are going to fall asleep in that moment, because we're just doing it.
It's got to make you fizz, hasn't it?
Yeah. And people say it was fine. I'm like, are we aiming for fine? You know, we should be aiming for brilliant. But going back to the question, like the secret, I don't think there is a secret. When people have found the secret to their show, the story that they're telling, is for a very good reason, because they took the time to really discover it. Like Billy Elliot for me is like up there in top creations to have ever been observed. You can see the time, like that they took on those moments.
The consideration and the detail. Yeah, I love that.
Exquisite.
So Sarah, my final question to you. You can pick one of your own shows for this one, if you like. Which musical feeds your soul? Like you said earlier, you know, sometimes you watch House of Fun for inspiration. Is there another musical you go to just to go, oh, I feel better about the world now?
That's such a hard one. I mean, it's kind of Shuck'D lives in my heart, like right in the middle of my heart. Like it just was a really special time of creating, and I'll never get bored watching it. Like, I don't know, it was just a really extraordinary time in life. And it's funny, you know, as I was saying earlier, like investigating Fame and having listened to it for like so long, and then listening back to it, and then like the 14-year-old is in me is listening to it, but then it's like now I'm like, oh, that goes on a bit too long. I've got like this, or I'd fix this or whatever, And
yeah, you're hearing it with different ears, but the same ears.
yes, but your that body's telling you a story. And actually, again, it's funny with me. It's all about the experience. Like, there's nothing more wonderful than like actually making the thing, And I went to see Mamma Mia on Broadway just a few nights ago because one of my besties here was playing Donna.
Oh wow!
And I haven't seen the show since I was in 2002. Maybe,
wow, yeah.
with Laura Michelle Kelly.
Yeah, so that was like the third cast, I think, third or fourth cast.
Something like that. But that dressing room, like they're still my bestest girlfriends now.
I think that's probably the same dressing room I was in, Sarah. The 5 of you.
Yes, yeah.
I was by the window.
Oh, Potter was next to the window, yeah.
Well, she was my track, I think. Potter was my track.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, she had the window. But that show and the joy, we had the time of our lives in that show. And it was, honestly, as I was watching it, I was like so proud of my girlfriend. But my heart was so full, just like remembering all those times that we had together and the naughtiness, as you know, that would happen in the sound booths.
Yeah.
And I used to always get notes from Lisa Morland saying I looked too much like a dancer. And because I used to love shenanigans in the mega mix. And I was like, my parents have paid a lot of money for me to look like a dancer. I think it's for me when I look back on moments like that is the experience that I had within like that moment in time.
The nostalgia trip, isn't it? That's what's really lovely.
Yeah.
We went back when it had its 25th birthday last year. They invited all the original cast back and we all watched the show and then went to the party. And I was like, I don't need to watch Mamma Mia again. But watching the show with the people that you created it with was the weirdest, most loveliest, funnest, most joyous experience. There was like a whole chunk of us in the audience and certain things would happen. And it's in a different theatre. The set's different. Lots of things have changed.
Yeah.
It just reminded me so much of everything we'd been through. So I can imagine it must have been similar for you just now watching it,
It was amazing. And then when Act 2 opened and the Under Attacker costumes, I was like, I hated that costume.
Did you run a mile then? My daughter asked me the other day, what's the worst costume you've ever worn on stage? And I went, right, I'm going to show you a picture of the Under Attack costumes in Mamma Mia. And then you will know why there is no doubt about the answer to that question.
No. Again, but that's a really wonderful piece of theatre when you break it down. Like so much heart, Act 2, the joy, Dancing Queen. And it's funny because my girlfriend actually started in it as an Ali Lisa cover and now, it's a Donna cover, and I've also, that's the extraordinary thing with the States. The regional theatre, is so extraordinary in the States. And, a lot of people, find their one part and then, play it for years and years, just travelling around, going to theatres and stuff. But I think, what's just so beautiful about your questions, I just wanted to say that it's, I feel genuinely so lucky to have, gone to Lane's when I was 16.
Were you there with Richard Reynolds? Were you there at the same time?
He graduated as I started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he graduated as I started. I'm like Nick Winchell's, Stefan and Ellie. We were like that era, and Darren Carnell.
But 16 is very young, isn't it? It's very young to go to college.
But to be from 16 to, watching these movies with my sister to still be here doing it now. And the industry just keeps opening up, I've found, for me, in a wonderful way. And just keep being curious and still keep that little kid in you. And I love people and just making things and actually bringing that to our 6-year-old, too. And it's just a really special thing.
What I notice about you, Sarah, is that, I know we only worked together for that short time, but you're a really open person. And
yes.
I feel like that makes you a very honest person. There's no inauthenticity there. You're absolutely true to who you are, which I think automatically makes people know they know you. And that makes you more open to opportunities and to saying yes to things. And I think, honestly, if you live your life in that way, that is what can happen. You are an example of what can happen. You put it out there and it pays back.
Oh, thank you. That's so lovely to say. But it's funny with the openness because it actually the joy can be at 10. But
some people don't like it, do they?
No, but then the pain can be at 10 too, and it's so funny too. We could have a whole other 2 hours about this, but female leadership, I think, is fascinating and just sometimes like you'll come across maybe somebody who's a female but leading with a male energy that they feel like they need to lead with. And I actually did it one time for an interview, and I thought I should do that, make me look more professional.
Yeah.
But I was not myself, and I didn't get the job.
Yeah.
And I really do just go in very much myself, and I'll see if this is the kind of person you're looking for. Then I said, I'll be screaming with laughter at the front. I'll be crying. I'm like all the feelings, and we love Inside Out and Inside Out 2. And we use that as a parenting tool with our son, and
isn't it brilliant? So useful.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. So best parenting tool ever.
Yeah.
But I'm very self-aware. I even was in a creative thing about a year ago, and I said, we were talking about something, and I said, I'm really battling with my ego right now. I said, so I'm going to walk away. I'm going to go get a cup of tea, and I'll come back in 10 minutes and let me do all this out in my head. And then I'm going to come back to you, and I'll be much more open, and I'll actually be able to listen.
Wow.
I'm very self-aware that way, and I don't know how to do something not, without it being at a 10, so you get all of me.
But that also takes you back to, what you were saying about Sam Mendes and Tony Edge and Dinky. And they are those people who are totally authentically themselves. They're open. They're happy to go, I don't know.
Yeah.
Help me with this, and run with things. And I just think that's really exciting. And it's a great way to be creative. And it's also a really good way to live your life as well.
Yeah, totally. And then, people sniff bullshit like all the time. Like even there was this one moment in Shocked when the gorgeous Sophie asked me a question, and she said, why is this happening here then? And I just said a bunch of bullshit. And then I walked away, and then I thought I just bullshitted her. And I went back and I went, I just told you a load of BS, and I actually don't know why that happens then and why. So we should figure that out. But I also was like, but we don't have 10 minutes to figure out right now, but know that that is on the front of my brain, and we will figure that out. Like people know, and I think it's totally fine to be like, I don't know.
Yeah, there should be more I don't know in the world. It's honest, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah. Or I'll be like, this is just a filler for right now, and I know there's a more wonderful answer in that.
Yeah.
I haven't discovered it yet, but I do know that it's in there, and so let's find it. So
Sarah, what's happening next for you? I know you've said a few things. Is that everything? Are there more Oscars and Tony Awards coming your way? What can we look out for you in next? What do you want?
Well, we just had Working Girl just out in La Jolla. Just got home like a week ago, which was working with the extraordinary Cyndi Lauper.
Wow.
Which was kind of extraordinary.
Is that new music or is it jukebox?
No, new music.
Great.
Yeah. And then now I get back into my TV world for a second. So it's all about, so I'm resident on this big show, Saturday Night Live, which most Brits know, but not everyone. But it's actually coming to London next year, which is very exciting.
I'm so excited about this. I'm a big fan of the podcast, The Rest is Entertainment, and they've had quite a few discussions about this and who they're going to find and things like that. So is that sort of a daily job? Do you go in every day and do that, or is it something you're called in every now and then for?
No, it's actually only 22 weekends of the year. My job is they'll let me know on a Wednesday if they need me or someone.
Right.
But actually, most of the time, I tend to be unavailable a lot of the time.
And they're okay with that?
Yes, because it takes a very certain type of person to work there, and it can't be about you.
Yeah.
You're a part of the machine that makes this whole thing happen. It's amazing training for theatre, actually, because my first time there, it was a really great little story, but I'm sorry, this podcast is going on forever. Sorry. But it's a great little story.
Go for it.
So I got a call on a Thursday night about 6 years ago or something saying, apparently you're someone that can make a lot happen very quickly and something big. And I was like, I am. They said, can you come in the next day? It was Friday. And I met Jimmy Fallon for the first time. And it was the first time the show was going live on both coasts. And that had never happened before. And then we met, I think, at 1:30. And they really just say to you, I'm holding up a trainer right now. But they're like, here's a trainer, and we want this song, and what would you do?
Yeah.
And they give you one thing, And then you just start pulling. I'd never, in that moment ever before, just had to pull things out my bottom, And anyway, and then Lorne Michaels is very that's funny, but he says it incredibly flat. Brilliant. And then you're like, oh, is that funny? And then anyway, Steve Higgins, who's number 2 there, who was the love of my life. I love him. He was like, Sarah, this is a place of yes. How many dancers do you think you need? And I said, well, if you want it to be epic, I said, we should have 100. And he said, if you can get 100 dancers here in the next 2 hours, you can have them.
Oh my God.
And this was a real New York moment, but we got 86 dancers there in 2 hours.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so it was a really thrilling New York moment. And then it was 5 p.m. on the Friday, the show's next day. And I was like, can we paint these walls into a disco wall? They were like, yeah, like anything can happen. Like literally anything can happen. And Harry Styles was actually, and we were talking about
Drop that
teams.
name.
I was like, I'm Leicester City.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. But you can literally be receiving the script as you're walking towards the actors, like in that moment.
My gosh,
you know? I mean, for theatre people, it's like nightmare.
Yeah.
But
just like permanent tech by the sounds of it.
yeah, but also you're like, now when I do theatre, I'm not remotely, if you're creating a new show, just write something, give me an idea. I can pull something out my ass in that second to work out. And also if you're just on the right way or not, you know? So, but anyway, but it's now on TV. And then I have this big show happening in London next week that's not been announced yet. And I'll be in London actually practically every month, like for the next kind of 9 months.
When you're back in London, Sarah, can we go out and just carry on chatting? Because I've loved this so much.
Yes!
Since you left us all those years ago.
I know, but I'll be back. Yeah, I've been, and you know, now it's looking like I'll be coming back a lot in a wonderful way. And I just love going to Marks and Spencer's.
Oh, I bet. I mean, Marks and Spencer's, Wagamama's, Sunday roasts, they were the things I missed the most when I was out there. Oh, my dog needs to go. I'm going to have to wrap this up, Sarah, because she needs to go and do a wee, I think. What a lovely way to end a podcast.
It's perfect. Well, thank you for having me. It's been so gorgeous.
Thank you so much. I have loved this, and I hope the listeners have as well. I feel like we've just been nattering away, but I'm hoping that people are enjoying listening to it as well. So thank you so much, Sarah. Big love to Chris Bailey and everybody. Thank you so much for listening today. This has been Talk Musicals to Me for the Bloop Network. My fabulous producer is Aaron Ware, and the music you heard is from the pen of the sublime Tom Self. If you get a moment, please subscribe or follow and rate the podcast by clicking the stars below on the podcast page. It takes about 2 seconds to do, and it will really help the podcast and its future life, and would make us massively, eternally, enormously grateful. In the meantime, another huge thanks for tuning in, and please do so again next time to see who will be next up to Talk Musicals to Me.